All right, let's get into the dark side of the moon. Okay, so we got this triangle here. One side you got the rainbow. All right, this side you have one line, this visible light that is the light we live in, and this is by the rulers of darkness. Okay, but we also live on this side in the rainbow spectrum. Okay, but it's divided by the 7 candlesticks in a way. So we're at a time where this rainbow is kind of reflecting through all men as things are being flipped, and as you're going into the dark side of the moon, this is where things go dark and you're brought into this little line, but you've already taken the hook, line, and sinker as the light is being shined to you, all those little things, okay? So this white and purple, the purple is that light that's shining into the darkness, and the American flag has a blue, red, and white, and the red and blue make purple, and that's where the white comes in. And basically the yellow and purple are complementary colors, and when you have yellow hair, you put the purple shampoo on there and it makes it a brighter white. So this is where we're kind of at on a world spectrum phase, and the purple party is kind of showing some cards here as far as Elon Musk talking about the American Party on one front. The pill, and then that big beautiful bill. The bill is the pill, the dill, and then the bill is also cross name for William or Will. So that big beautiful bill can be tying into Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky under the desk in one type of fashion, on another little flip-flop. Or we might have the William kind of tied in that, because the Silver Surfer comes in and says, "I herald the beginning. I herald the end." So, we're seeing a transfer of the British crown and whatever, and kind of the things we're told about the crown being stolen, we can be seeing in another way, as Harry is obviously the son of that horse trainer dude or whatever Diana was with. But I've gotten into those things before and posted some stuff on that long ago, a couple years ago, tying all them together. But he's either way. So that's where this stuff is kind of coming in the Epstein files and whatever else. But that's just a whole nother thing with the Fantastic Four, and that Fantastic Four is tying into your foreheads, and the Johnny Flames, that Hell Flame, and the Rock to build your house on, and then the Fantastic, the Stretch Read and all that stuff, and then the that's the Ghost Spell, the Seeking the Truth and Grace, and then Miss Invisible or whatever for the Lady Liberty you never saw, or the Jesus you never saw, or the God spectrum you never saw, as the feminine is the creator of this earth. So there's many things, the so-called ball worship or bell worship or the man's club, the church that's been stolen, the stolen inheritance has to learn. Okay, so the that pill is going to be given, that person, as they're reflecting the light of Washington and that petrodollar and those types of things. And that's when that it just keeps going. There is no end. So it's just like, how do these things turn off and on and whatever else. But so that AI that we're shown at the top of the dollar is kind of like that at the dark side of the moon and whatever at the top. So when you go into the rainbow spectrum, the violet, the violence, that takes you to the Mars, the god of war, and then the violin is the sad, and that takes you to the sin of Sodom, the grievous sin. So that's exactly what we see today, especially in these time frames, as they don't understand the time frames. Once the people understand the time frame, then I think they can come and rise up out of their so-called depression. But also there's another depression setting in, because then they realize, like, well, I'm the third temple where God rests, and I am just been destroying my body in one way, shape, or form. So since the body's been destroyed, this begotten Son that's coming has to start transitioning and reflecting a light upon this world to get the body back into where it's meant to be. And the people who have not undergone that live lab test, in a way, are going to probably have access to the so-called DNA changes that we see being reported for 2030 and whatever else. And then today I read that the ones who are being born with the DNA of 3 parents are not having the heredity diseases or whatever. So, and it's also talking about the 8 kids or whatever, I think, with it, or 8 was mentioned with it. That's tying in the infinity, but that's where we're seeing these certain things that have been tested, and they're going to be put upon the earth in one way, shape, or form, and we're going to be brought into that time where we live for 500, 600, 700, 800, 900 years or whatever. And this may be a literal thing where we take the machine, this machine, from one to another, or we may just learn to transfer the light from this into another thing. And this could be as far as the physical, like whatever parasite organism thing that runs this thing that I've posted in some videos and other posts. But so that's that alien inside of every person, that Son of God inside of every person, where we're all the same but we're also different. And either way, so that may be figuring out a different way and get rid of this whatever is going on. Okay, and also the things that's been done is also putting, I think, a blank slate on the computer as far as the brain, and it's going to be rebuilt and turned on in another way. Okay, because it says the last or first, and sometimes the autistic people or the whatever people are going on that we don't understand now, as far as the physical representation of the church has been stolen. Those of us who do understand, in a way, those people are a tuning device or whatever's going on in one aspect, but they're going to be rebuilt first into that new realm. And either way, we'll wrap it up on the color purple.